As Fujian gets war ready, China gets moving on Taiwan invasion? Chinese Coast Guard tests waters 400 kilometers from Taiwan in a fresh show of maritime reach. National reunification. Xi's men broadcast his message at sea as signaling intensifies. Second incursion near Pratas Island as pressure builds ahead of a potential full-scale Taiwan move. Taiwan said a Chinese Coast Guard and survey vessel carried out a coordinated operation in the South China Sea near the strategically sensitive Pratas Islands. Taipei described the move as a provocation by Beijing, saying it reflects renewed pressure around the Pratas Islands, located between southern Taiwan and Hong Kong. The Pratas Islands remain lightly defended but are considered strategically important due to their location and surrounding maritime routes. Taiwan's Coast Guard said a Chinese Coast Guard vessel approached the area on June 5, increasing surveillance concerns. A Chinese survey ship was also observed operating near the islands on June 6, in what Taiwan described as a coordinated maritime presence. Taiwan said this was the first observed instance of joint Coast Guard and survey vessel activity in the area. Officials said the operation appeared aimed at reinforcing Beijing's maritime claims in contested waters around the islands. Taiwan's former official Joseph Wu called the move provocative and accused China of using gray zone tactics and intimidation. The Chinese vessel reportedly stated it was conducting law enforcement operations in the area during the deployment. It also broadcast messages asserting that Taiwan's future lies in national reunification, according to Reuters. Beijing claims both Taiwan and the Pratas Islands as part of its territory, a position Taiwan firmly rejects. Taiwan maintains that only its people have the right to decide the island's political future and status. Officials noted this is not the first time Chinese vessels have operated near the Pratas Islands in recent years. A Chinese Coast Guard ship was involved in a tense standoff with Taiwanese vessels, bringing rival ships from both sides face-to-face near disputed waters. According to Taiwan's Coast Guard, the Chinese vessel only left waters near the Pratas Islands after an extended round of verbal sparring over the radio. Taiwan says it first spotted the Chinese ship heading directly towards the Pratas on May 23, triggering immediate concern in Taipei. Taipei then dispatched one of its own Coast Guard ships to the area, broadcasting warnings over loudspeaker and radio for the Chinese vessel to leave, according to reports. The two sides soon became locked in a heated argument over sovereignty via radio, each insisting the waters around the islands belonged to them. China's crew stated over the radio that they were on a routine mission and that Beijing has jurisdiction over the Pratas, language that Taiwan found especially provocative. Taiwanese officials later said China's choice of words on jurisdiction, as well as the length of time the ship lingered near the islands, were both unusual and worrying. The Chinese ship eventually turned away and began sailing out of the area in the late afternoon on May 24, easing immediate tensions but not the underlying fears. Separately, Taiwan's Coast Guard says it also drove away a Chinese research vessel for the second time this month, underscoring how frequent such encounters have become. On May 24, Taiwan's security chief revealed that around 100 Chinese ships were operating inside the so-called First Island Chain, a belt of sea stretching along East Asia's front line. The First Island Chain is a strategic arc that runs from Japan, through Taiwan, and down to the Philippines, seen by Beijing and Washington as a key military boundary. The Pratas Island itself lies roughly between southern Taiwan and Hong Kong, making it a small but important outpost in contested waters. Because Pratas is about 400 kilometers from Taiwan's main island, it is relatively isolated and considered highly vulnerable to a sudden Chinese move. Adding to those concerns, Pratas is only lightly defended by Taiwan's Coast Guard, rather than by heavy military forces, making it a tempting target in a crisis. China began flight trials involving the J-35 and J-15T amid reports that both fighter aircraft are nearing carrier-ready status. New footage showed China's Fujian aircraft carrier conducting advanced fighter flight operations during ongoing sea trials. J-15T and J-35 fighters were seen carrying out touch-and-go landings at sea, according to Military Watch magazine. The drills marked an important step toward the Fujian carrier achieving full operational readiness later this year. Touch-and-go operations allowed pilots to practice the most demanding phase of carrier-based flight operations. The PLA's training focused on approach control, deck alignment, and precision touchdown procedures at sea. The exercises also tested Fujian's landing aids, control systems, and coordination between flight and deck crews. Joint operation suggested Fujian had progressed beyond basic sea trials and entered air-wing integration testing. China appeared to be developing a mixed carrier air-wing combining stealth fighters and heavy strike aircraft. The PLA's J-15T offers longer operational range, larger payload capacity, and an upgraded radar system. Meanwhile, the J-35 brings fifth-generation stealth capabilities designed for operations in heavily contested environments. Together, the two aircraft could provide China with a broader range of options in future naval missions. The drills followed reports that J-35 fighters were also tested aboard China's Liaoning aircraft carrier. The development indicated Beijing may eventually equip older carriers with fifth-generation combat aircraft. China's expanding carrier program is widely viewed as part of its long-term power projection strategy. China's PLA Navy has entered what analysts describe as a new era of fifth-generation carrier aviation, as Beijing moves to integrate advanced stealth aircraft into its growing fleet of aircraft carriers. Reporting by Chinese state broadcaster CCTV revealed that both the J-35 stealth fighter and the J-15T have successfully adapted to ski-jump carrier launch operations, marking a significant milestone for China's naval aviation program. The J-35 and J-15T have now been integrated with the Liaoning aircraft carrier's Stober launch system, allowing the aircraft to operate from carriers that do not rely on catapult-assisted takeoffs. According to Chinese reports, these aircraft are expected to be deployed across the Liaoning, Shandong, and the newer Fujian carriers, expanding the operational flexibility of China's carrier fleet. Military analysts say the development could pave the way for coordinated multi-carrier strike group operations, enabling China to sustain air power across larger areas of the Indo-Pacific region. For the first time, the J-35 brings a fifth-generation stealth capability to China's carrier-based air wing, potentially enhancing the PLA Navy's ability to operate in contested environments. Alongside the J-35, the J-15B provides multi-role strike capabilities, while the J-15D is designed to support electronic warfare missions and suppress enemy air defenses. Airborne early warning aircraft are expected to work alongside these fighters, completing a layered carrier air wing structure designed to improve detection, coordination, and combat effectiveness. The combination of stealth fighters, strike aircraft, and support assets could allow China to project air power beyond the first island chain and operate more effectively in complex maritime environments. Earlier versions of the J-15 faced restrictions in payload capacity and operational range when launching from ski-jump carriers, limiting their effectiveness during demanding combat missions. Analysts believe the integration of the J-35 addresses one of the PLA Navy's most persistent carrier aviation challenges, potentially giving even China's older carriers a far more capable combat air wing. As China unveiled the J-35 fighter jet with long-range missiles, experts quickly began to focus on a different prospect: how it could be optimized for deep maritime strike rather than just air combat. China's fifth-generation Shenyang J-35 stealth fighter is believed to be capable of carrying up to 4 anti-ship missiles, giving each jet the firepower to threaten an entire surface group. If the J-35 is eventually deployed with the YJ-15 supersonic anti-ship missile, analysts argue it could significantly alter naval warfare by pushing Chinese strike range far beyond current expectations. The YJ-15 loadout would transform the J-35 from a conventional carrier-based fighter into a true long-range maritime strike platform able to launch standoff attacks from deep within China's own air cover. In that configuration, the J-35 would be capable of hitting U.S. carrier strike groups while remaining in stealth mode, shrinking the reaction time for American defenses to just seconds. Additionally, reports suggest such missiles could be used in island seizure operations, supporting blockade enforcement and rapid strikes against logistical hubs and amphibious forces.